Hey everyone, it's Camille
And
and
Juliet.
and we're back this week talking about the Bachelorette. What's become one of our very favorite things. And this week, as with every other week, there was no lack of drama and intrigue. Another to be continued episode, so we'll actually see you here back tomorrow to talk about that one too. But all right, let's get into it. So we start with Lee and Kenny, right? The continuation from last week's episode.
Right.
So what do you think about all of that?
Okay, Lee definitely he's like doing some survivor tactics, like playing mind games with people. And I was like,
I'm not here to make friends, Julie.
I'm not here to make friends, which is basically the mantra for every reality star. This is not a show about making friends. Okay, great. Okay, maybe they need to make a show about making friends for reality TV because clearly these people don't know how to be social. But I thought Kenny is taking this too far. Like, dude, let me go. Why are you about to fight this dude? Okay, it is in the spirit of reality shows. This is a game. He's trying to get his time. He may have ulterior motives, but what is your motive, dude? Why are you, like, now I do kind of actually understand what Lee is saying. Like, Kenny is being aggressive, okay? And it's like, I know. By the end, I was like, dude, let it go. You're playing into his hand, and don't you see this? Don't you see this? You are a bigger man and smarter than to be playing into Lee's hands. But also, I just thought he was just taking it too far. Okay, so he came in and he told you, I'm going to come back in 16 minutes. Okay, so you knew that. He made his intentions clear. And he came back, and you got mad. And you got really mad. And you stayed mad. And you're still mad. And you're getting mad again. Stop being mad.
I mean, yes. Okay. There was a point where I was like, Kenny, this isn't helping you at all, And I feel like towards the end of the episode, he started to get that, but still, even then, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when he said later about being in a Zen place, and I was like, brother, no, you're not. Like, everything about your tone says that, no, you're still really pissed. And, Lee is a snake, okay? Lee, in case people out there don't know, has been uncovered. I think Dee and I talked about this last week. Been uncovered as a racist, okay? And clearly, like, Will tries to say to him, when you called, Kenny aggressive, like, there's a long history about Black men, and being called aggressive and sort of what that means. And then Lee was like, oh, so he's playing the race card. Lee, let me tell you something, okay? If I were on there, okay, see, maybe I also identify with Kenny in some ways because I was like, oh yeah, no, Kenny, no. You should, smack him in the mouth. What? What did he say? I would probably also be still as angry as Kenny is. But no, I would hope that I would recognize, as you said, he's playing these games. This is what he wants to happen. And so how can I de-escalate this inside myself?
Right.
So that I don't get, thrown off this show because of this dude.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So when Kenny went up to talk to Lee, Lee was sitting down and Kenny, was making his feelings known about him butting in the time and did start to raise his voice. But yeah, I just think throughout the whole episode, it was like Kenny couldn't get his mind to move past it, And then and the thing is, this is also something just from this season. Anytime there is a guy that is telling Rachel about another guy, well, he did this or he did that, it always seems to blow back on them.
Yeah, it's true.
It always seems to blow back. And then she's like, you know what? Both of you can go. So, I mean, I think she's made it very clear. And that's also why I'm very surprised with Kenny. She's made it very clear that she's not down for the drama, and that, you know, while she will listen to what you have to say and take it into consideration, if you keep bringing it up, in one way, I also felt some of these guys are being patronizing to her because they're not trusting her to make her own choices. If she wanted to keep Waboom, that's her business. It's not yours. If she wants to keep Lee, that's her business, not yours. She's taken into consideration what you said, but she's weighing things for herself. And so you continuing to take it on, trying to help her see the light, is not helping your cause, because what she's saying is, okay, but what about you? I don't know anything about you. All I know is that you have this vendetta or whatever, this thing about this other guy. And so, one, you're not using your time effectively with your one-on-one. Any time that you get with Rachel, you need to be like, hey, I'm really into you. I think you're great. I think I'm great too. Here's why I'm great, you know, instead of talking about why some other guy is not great, you know, because it makes you look like you don't have enough to offer.
Well, and that's basically, I mean, so Iggy gets eliminated in this episode, right? And I think he was definitely, you know, a victim of that thing, because, you know, all the times, the last few times that they had talked, he was talking about what Eric had done, or who else did he talk about? Lee at some point, you know, like,
yeah,
everybody.
And also Josiah. He talked about Josiah.
Exactly. That was the other person that he was talking about, right? And so meanwhile, those people are still there, and now you're not.
Right.
Which he did realize, you know, when he said goodbye, like, he was like, yeah, I wish I had, you know, stopped talking about these other guys and it talked about me. Like, yeah, because she's trying to date you. She's trying to figure out if you're the person. And so if you don't give her reason to see why you are, why would she keep you?
Right.
Which, you know, I think Kenny seemed in some way by the end of the episode to try to just talk, you know, to talk more about what he could see between them. Which is one, I'm hoping maybe this next episode that Rachel does see the light and gets rid of Lee, because he also, though, I mean, if we're thinking about this principle, he was talking a lot about just Kenny, right? And not about them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The preview episode, Kenny had some blood coming out of his eye. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, the next episode seems to be the most dramatic Bachelorette episode ever. Which is, every episode is like, has that little tagline to it. But there were some things last night that were really sweet, like Rachel and Brian.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Rachel has been on Brian for like since jump. Like, you know, I can't even remember, but he was one of the first guys that she was like, "Oh, I like him," you know, and he was the first kiss, right? Wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He was the first guy she kissed. They had that on their very first night. So, I mean, you know, this is a long-standing chemistry, you know, developing between them, and it developed some more. And it was really interesting because Rachel, okay, so Camille and I are all into attachment theory, and I'm not going to really go into it now because it's too much. But
I know we'll be talking for hours about it.
Google it. Okay. So, so last night we were texting, like, clearly Rachel has an avoidant attachment style. Like, she is afraid of getting hurt and has closed off her heart. She keeps saying, I don't want to get hurt. I want to get hurt. I don't want to get played. I want to get played, you know. And so while she is open, there is still like some real resistance in her. And so, you know, Brian was trying to break through that last night. What did you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I was also going through, so just briefly on the attachment theory that she and I both become obsessed with. There's like 3 types of attachment styles: secure, avoidant, and anxious. Okay. And I've now been like regularly, it's like a robo chip in my brain or something. And I'm like anxious, avoidant, secure. So I was doing that last night in some ways. And I, you know, was noticing who are the guys who seem to be secure, right? So they don't have a problem with intimacy. They can express their feelings. You know, it's not a big deal to them. And who are the ones who seem like they're talking maybe some game about it, but they also seem to be putting up some walls, right? Which I think in some ways is also what Rachel is doing.
Right.
And who are the ones who are like so wanting something to happen that they're afraid or they're getting jealous or, you know, they're acting out in these different sorts of ways. Like I wonder, so she goes on a date with Jack, right? And, you know, so sorry, Jack, but you did not get a rose. And I was so aware he didn't seem to be picking up the fact that she wasn't reciprocating some of that. You know, he goes in for a kiss and it was like, yes, okay. And then moving away. I was like, this guy's not gonna survive this date. Like there's not enough here for her to keep him around. But should she have given Jack more of a chance? Maybe Jack's securely attached and, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because, I mean, there's such a short window to kind of gauge whether there's chemistry and, you know, to get to know some of these guys. I mean, you know, not everybody gets a one-on-one date. And so even in the group date, it's, if you're not somehow shining, then she's going to be like, who? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially now, right? So, because, you know, there's always that moment where it could have been like, oh, it's in the middle of the pack, right? And this is like all reality TV, like Project Runway, the same way, right? Like there's a moment where you can like coast.
Right.
And then there comes a moment where it's like, no, you know, you got to put up or shut up.
Yeah.
There's only so many slots.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's unfortunate some of the guys who have caused the most drama, I mean, are getting the most attention, such as Lee. You know, I mean, I like Kenny, and you know, if he settles down. But yeah, even in past episodes, Waboom and what's the other guy that Kevin was kind of obsessed with? Blake. Yeah. That. So, and if you're not about drama, which a lot of those guys, you know, thankfully are not. You get lost in the shuffle. So
the secure guys always do. Okay, seriously, I'm gonna write a post about this on Thursday. So go to the website and I'll talk so much about attachment theory. But yes, right. If those guys who are like they're nice and things are good, but maybe you haven't yet gotten to that place where it's like, oh yes, here's all the chemistry we could have together. Here's how good we could be together. Like, I was sort of like, yeah, I think in The Bachelorette, like, you know, or any of these shows like this thrive.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's not enough to get to know somebody. So you got to go on the instinct, the chemistry you think you have. And that's what's going to, you know, indicate. And so what did you think about, so someone else who would cause some drama at one point, Eric? When he brought up that does she just like white guys, right? Like, is she only picking white guys for her one-on-ones?
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I don't think so. I think she is going on chemistry, and she did have a one-on-one with a black guy.
Whose name you don't even know.
Whose name I don't even know. Actually, I was surprised that she chose for the one-on-one date, because when she did, I was like, who? You know, so, but whatever. You know, it's not my shit, it was hers. Yeah, who actually I think is securely attached because he's been, you know, no drama. So anyway, this other guy, and you all remember, he has, you know, bald head. They went to Rodeo Drive and were on the horses. That's the guy that she went on the one-on-one date with again. Can't remember his name. Sorry. He said, well, no. Right. He said, no, I don't think so. He said, I think Rachel's picking people based on personalities. And he said, you know, of all the black guys that are here, me, Eric, Josiah, Kenny, Mike, he said, we're all different, you know, so it's not like black guys versus white guys. It's, you know, Mike versus Josiah, Mike versus, you know, Brian, whatever. Okay.
Who's Mike?
Mike is the guy that got the rose. The guy that got the rose. Isn't that his name?
His name is Will. It's like, wait, did I miss?
Wait. Okay. See, sometimes, okay, listen, I'm not good at names. I'm great at faces. So if you put up a flashcard, I could tell you, yes, he's on the Bachelorette, but I wouldn't be able to tell you his name. So it's Will versus Brian, or Will versus Lee. It's people, it's different men versus other men. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think that I mean, the thing is, really, in the larger pool, there are more black men than white guys at this point.
right.
I think. Yes, I think so. So yeah, a lot of the guys who she has sort of more immediately eliminated. You know, I mean, have been, you know, white guys and black guys. And so yeah, I think that she is also going off of personality and not like just, well, he's white. Also, Brian is, I don't know if he's half Colombian or all Colombian, but still, he's actually not white.
Right.
So, you know,
right. Yeah. So I don't think that way. I mean, but I would be interested in her going on a one-on-one date with one of the guys, one of the black guys. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
you know, I'm not sure. I mean, she had some time with Josiah, and Josiah was like, you know, I think we're going to be together. My grandfather met my grandmother, and on the second date, he said,
I think his dad.
Yeah,
his parents. Yeah.
So, and she was kind of like, interesting. But she wasn't feeling him, and she didn't feel that he was sincere. I don't know. I don't know if I got that feeling from him. I did feel like he was trying too hard. And she said, you know, like, I want you haven't really asked a lot of questions about me. You kind of keep talking about how great you think I am, but you don't really know me. So how do you know? You know, so, yeah. So I don't know how long he's going to last. Because if she's not
I think that this next ceremony, and you know, from the beginning, I was sort of like, I haven't disliked Josiah, but he definitely was not high on my list. And in so much for the same reason, I just felt like there's something that I don't trust about him. And, you know, I don't think he's a bad guy but it does sort of seem like, I think in part it is what she said, that it's sort of like he's more interested in kind of the image of her than actually getting to know her, you know? And I think we both dated guys where it's like, you know, you sort of feel like there's a checklist that maybe you're meeting, but are you actually interested in me?
Right.
You know, or is it like, oh, she's got a college degree and she, you know, works at this job and she's this height, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
And that's what I'm looking for. It's like, no, I want you to be looking for me.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I do think that, unfortunately, there's going to be some of the black men are going to be going. Eric, you know, avoidant. Hello.
Avoidant. Okay. Yeah.
Eric ain't ready. Eric ain't ready for marriage. Sorry, he's not. He seems like a nice guy, but he needs some work. And, you know, he needs, I think the timeline that she's working on, he's not going to be able to meet, because he already had kind of like an anxiety attack earlier on. And, you know, so.
Well, yeah, he actually might be anxious avoidant, Julie. But.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. True. So I think she's going to see pretty soon that he's just not ready. Not that he's not interested, but I don't think he's ready. Will, I think I would actually love for her to go on a one-on-one date with Will, because I would. There's something there, and yes. I think he seems to be secure. So
yes, I agree. I think I would love to see her go on a date with Will, and clearly, you know, like he in that handball game, he ran that, you know, floor. Like he really, you know, showed himself, and she really liked that too, that he had this other sort of side to him. So I think I think it would be a good date, you know, to be able to find out, like, yeah, is there something really here? You know, the thing with Eric, she does seem to still be into him. Like, I even think last rose ceremony, he got the first rose, like, you know, in the ceremony itself.
Right.
So I think he is probably going to hang on at least another episode. But then that next level will be like, okay, are you really ready? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And I think clearly Brian, right? Peter, I love Peter. It's just, Peter's one of my faves. With the gap.
Oh, yeah. Wait,
Mike.
who's on the other one-on-one date?
So he didn't know. He didn't have a one-on-one, but they were on the group date, but then got in the hot tub.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, Peter, yes. Peter, yeah, is super, super cute. Yeah, so right before the rose ceremony, they're hanging out, and, each one of the guys, take a little time to talk to her. And so she and Peter are talking, and she was like, you want to take this conversation to the hot tub?
In just that voice, too.
Hey. So they did. And so apparently they were gone for hours, okay?
He came back and he was like, you've been gone for 3.5 hours. Like, that's a lot of hot tubbing.
Right.
Okay.
But he did not get the first rose of the night. And he was like, wait, we were just hanging out for like 3 hours and you give it to Bill.
But the thing for me about that I thought, I was like, I think this is sort of her encouraging Will.
Mm-hmm.
I like what happened and I would like to see more of that. I think she feels really clear, like Peter's not going anywhere, neither is Brian, right? Like, I think those two, barring something, are going to make it to the end, And so I think she really liked, what she saw in the court with Will, but also how he was vulnerable with her. And I think she was trying to be like, yes, more of that, and let's see what else, can happen here. But I mean, I can certainly get Peter might feel like it's naked, not naked.
Used.
In the hot tub, exactly like that.
Used for his body.
Is that money on the table? Oh God.
Right, exactly. Crying in the shower later.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the other one-on-one date that she had.
Yes. What, with Brian? Or the 2-on-1? Which one are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I missed last week's episode, okay? And so I watched all of them together. So there is a little confluence that's happening in my mind. I'm like, wait, which episode was that? Okay, I think that was from the old episode. Okay, we won't talk about it.
Okay, I was like, with Brian? But I love, so them rappelling, down the, terrifying.
No, never. Just I had to even avert my eyes even as they were doing it. I was just like, yes, like getting the shakes in my living room. Like, no, that does not sound like a great date at all.
I would be terrified, but I would also like to do it. I was like, yes, this would scare the bejesus out of me, but also kind of fun. But I love that he was like, kissed her in the middle of them rappelling down.
That was, I did turn to, I looked up and like, oh, okay.
And then he told her he was falling in love with her. So,
Yes. And he's the first one to like say that, not to say like, you could be the one, or I see us. Like, what Josiah was saying, it wasn't personal to her in some way, which I understand what she was saying, but yeah, so that was very exciting. At that point I was like, okay, I guess we can end the show. Like, okay, let's just go to the final rose ceremony now.
Just get there.
Let's just bye, everybody.
Yeah, I'm definitely betting Brian and Peter. Final four. This is Bachelorette bracketology. And
right, final four. Those only 2 guys that you mentioned. Okay.
I'm saying those are 2 of the 4. I haven't filled in the last of my brackets, Julie. Okay.
Right. We should actually, maybe we should start like a Bachelorette bracketology.
Good.
Is that how you say it?
I know. I'm sure someone on the internet has been doing that. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll look on that. Yeah, maybe we'll look to see that because.
Right. And maybe we'll be like, whoever gets we'll all buy a bottle of rosé for that person or something.
Right. Or what's the new rosé that you told me about from Portugal?
Vino Verde.
Vino Verde. We might,
Yep.
you to something, okay? Let them know.
Okay, so let's see what else. I'm just gonna look at what's my little. Oh well, so the other thing, I thought about a little bit. I mean, we're gonna see, with Kenny and Lee, like in this next episode.
We're on a 2-on-1 date. The episode ended with a 2-on-1 date. Okay.
I mean, I definitely feel like, if Dee Dee Brown were here, she'd be all like, the producers, and this is, it's all fake, and, but I mean, I was like, okay, clearly the producers were like, what we need to do? Let's set off this race war and get Kenny and Lee on a date together.
Yeah, it was definitely like, this is like a death match, yeah. I mean, there was no way that there could not be tension and be uncomfortable or whatever, at the very least. Yeah. So yeah, definitely producers, we thank you for inserting some drama into this. This is yeah, we know who was in charge of that. But yeah, but the thing is, yes, that I do think, yeah, it is a producer orchestrated thing to have. Okay, that was really weird. Okay. I don't know what that was. To have them on the date, but you still have choices. So Kenny, I think Kenny should have come in expecting Lee's gonna do some dirt. I'm gonna keep my cool. I'm gonna focus on her. And then, because Lee came into the whole date, I'm just gonna keep smiling because that's gonna piss him off. I'm gonna have a great time, and that's gonna piss him off. And it's true.
Yeah. Well, especially at the end, what I started thinking, with Kenny, I was like, we're our own worst enemy when we're dating. And I mean, I probably just in life, we're our own worst enemy. Where you can say that you want something, but you're the person who's standing in the way of getting it.
Right.
And definitely, I agree, that for Kenny to not have sort of like really gotten his mind right about the fact that, like, yes, of course, this dude's gonna try to piss you off. Like, this dude is an asshole. Okay, like, fine, whatever. What are you trying to do? Like, get focused. So, I mean, tomorrow we'll be back to talk about it, and we'll see. Like, does Lee hit Kenny? Does Kenny hit Lee first, and Kenny takes a cowboy boot to his eye? Does Lee get sent home? Does Kenny get sent home? Do they both get sent home?
Yeah.
I mean, who can say? Other thing, I think I want to go to Norway. I was like, Oslo is beautiful.
Okay, so Norway has been a country that I've wanted to go to since the 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was 7th grade. I read a book about these kids that hid their town's valuables and gold in the mountains when the Nazis took over their village. And the kids, they had their sleighs, so they know that the Nazis didn't. It was a wonderful story, and I've been searching. I don't remember the name of the book, but I've been searching for this book since I was in the 7th grade because I was like, it was such a wonderful story, and it was this town in Norway, and ever since then, I've been fascinated with Norway. Okay,
so you want to go on a one-horse open sleigh treasure hunting in Norway?
It just was so. The indomitable spirit of the Norwegian people against Nazism, or as Trump said, Nazism. Nazism was so inspiring to me, and I said, that's a country I want to go to.
Okay, wow.
Yes. During the summertime, that's a country I want to go to.
Well, I was gonna say, it was like, I mean, sleigh, sure.
I'm sure. I'll first go in the summertime and then brave the winter. Yes.
Yes, I'm sure there's lots of saunas and hot things to drink if you did go during the winter. But if you want to go this summer, you could see the beauty there as well.
Exactly.
So, and yes, be against Nazis.
Yes.
Right on. All right. Well, now we've given you some information about Norwegian history as well. So you see, there's so much in these video casts that we're giving you. So much, people. Okay.
Rich.
So we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see like how Kenny got the busted eye, and and what the future is for our soul sister Rachel.
Yes.
Last thoughts, Joe?
Can't wait for tonight. Find out what's going on, who stays, who goes. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. All right. So we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Right.
Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media.
Spinsters Union on every channel.
SpinstersUnion.com. And again, tomorrow we'll be back, and then Thursday I'll have a post all about attachment theory, so you can know exactly all the things we're talking about. See you back here. Bye.